Hey everybody, welcome into the Beehive. I'm your host, TheBee at LLC, and this is where we stack precious metals like it's pollen and nectar. Today we're going to talk some ancient coins, and we are lucky enough to have Aaron Berk from Harlan J. Berk with us again. I'll bring him up. Aaron, welcome in.
What up?
Well, not a whole lot. I'm glad to have you back. Thanks for taking the time.
Sure.
Surely appreciate it. I also want to give a shout out to T the Silver Stacker. I know when I first approached you, I asked him if I could drop his name while introducing myself, and he said sure. So I wanna thank T the Silver Stacker.
I love T. Great guy.
Yeah, T, he's a lot of fun. Great channel.
He's done a lot. He's done a lot with my U.S. department.
Yeah, is that your downstairs?
It is. Yeah, he does a lot with Russ and Mike in my store.
Yeah, they're really cool too, and I really enjoy Mike too in your Ancient Coin podcast.
Thanks. Yeah, I was just talking to Mike about it today because at the beginning when we first started the podcast, people were like, "Why do you have Mike there? He doesn't know anything and all this stuff." And we're like, "Well, that's the whole point,
right?
That I'm the expert and he's not, and I'm teaching about ancient coins, but he's an expert in U.S. coins." And so I don't know a lot about U.S. coins, but I know a little. And so we both have our expertise, and sometimes we meet in the middle. So that's kind of cool. So
yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, it helps me. I mean, I'm more of a newbie even than Mike, because like you say, he's an expert in US, and so just that, I mean, helps a lot. I mean that gives you a good foot ahead. So
and we have good chemistry together, and
yep.
And so yeah, and we're actually running to we're going to be starting a new program for the recording the podcast, so that we'll have more. I'll be able to see his video, which I haven't been able to do. And so that'll make things go a little bit more smoothly, and also like we'll be able to do like video with the slideshow with our pictures still in it if we want, and stuff like that.
Nice. Nice.
So some definitely some new level stuff that has been needed for a while. So cool. But the content will stay the same.
Yeah, well, I love it as is already. So any improvement will just be.
Yeah, it's really, it's funny you mentioned, because Mike and I had a long talk this morning about it, and we're like, it's really starting to take off. I'm really getting a lot of traction with subscribers, and it seems like wherever I go, there are people who watch the show or talk to me on the phone, or I see them at different shows around the country, and it just goes to show how many people are actually listening to it. And so that's I felt like there was a void with numismatics that wasn't being filled, and I feel like we filled it. And so the other thing is like that we had to go through with some of the growing pains was just like having that balance between not just showing coins that no one can afford and coins that people could afford, and that a happy medium. Because at the beginning of the podcast, I would get a lot of like, do you know who your audience is, and all this other stuff, and I'm just like, yeah, but if I did it on all the crappy looking coins, nobody would want to watch the show. It'd be boring,
Sure.
So catching that that happy middle ground actually took some time, and after 47 episodes, I think we finally hit our stride.
Nice. No, I've enjoyed it all the way through, and it is getting, the more you do stuff, you get better and better at it. But
absolutely. And I mean, the hardest part for me is coming up with education, because I've got to write the whole show, and so like coming up with like the auction I'm going to talk about that's coming up, that's not hard. I just pick an auction and pick out a couple coins I like or I think are interesting, and talk about them. So that kind of feeds itself for that part of the content. But doing the educational section, that takes some real thought. Sure. So gotta like, what the hell am I going to talk about this time? And luckily there's 1,800 years of ancient coin production, so that seems to be okay. But then people will be like, how come you're not talking about the Parthians? And I'm like, well, I did already. So so I think I'll probably I've retreaded a few shows, Like I think I've revisited you know, the laws and regulations a couple times. I've done two
Sure.
of those. So and I'll probably do that again because those are always changing. Um, but you know, the other thing that's really interesting is that a lot of people in my, you know, that would do a podcast like this don't have the insight I have, meaning where I'm, you know, yes, I sell all coins from $10 up to $1 million or more. But the nice thing is that I do have the insight to talk about the, you know, what's happening on the high end coins where a lot of people don't have that experience or cannot talk about that. And so even though people can't afford those things, I think it's interesting to have somebody in that position who can actually talk about what's actually happening at the top of the
For sure, because even for us, you know, newbies and small bees like me that are, you know, kind of at the bottom of the ladder, as it were, it's very, I mean, it's very informative to see the, you know, what the high price stuff goes for, what makes it high priced, what, you know, why is it going for that, and follow it down the trail, and it kind of gives you an idea of the overall market, at least for me. Starting out, that's it's
yeah, and I've tried to, like, you know, I did the whole doofus thing, and I'm trying now to, like, you know, show why it's a doofus and try to educate people on why I think it's that way and give some extra insight into that. And then also, like, people are like, why are you always negative? Why don't you give a positive purchase? And that's why I am.
I noticed you had a positive now to go along with the negative. I thought that was nice too.
Yeah, I'm trying to do that just because you know, I had so many clients. You wouldn't believe how many clients have talked to me on the phone and said, I'm so afraid that you're gonna say my purchase.
No doubt. That's I was thinking the same thing, so that's funny.
I'm like, you know what, guys, you're not gonna worry about it. I mean, if you're listening to the show, you're probably okay. So the guys that don't listen to the show are the ones that are making the doofus purchases.
Yeah. Well, that's funny. I have a couple clips open. I want to share of actually some of your content that I think last week you went over, and it's probably kind of redundant for me to go over it again here, but I think it's really good for my listeners from a stacker perspective of just coming in at bullion level and just starting to, you know, get into numismatics maybe a little bit.
Sure.
And to see like this, you know, U.S. phenomenon of slabbing and why not just go for the slabbing and what's going on there. And I thought you had a good example of that I wanted to bring up. And I guess, you know, you kind of already answered this, but I want to just, when we come on here, kind of give you the floor. And since you have already kind of already talked about it a little bit, but you have such a great overview of the market in your position. And so I want to start by just letting you, you know, tell me and us anything that you are thinking on right now, anything new that's come up, or what's on your plate or what's on your mind as far as the market.
So, you know, there's certain things, for instance, hold on one second.
Yep.
Hey, I'm in a conference call. So I would say, you know, right now we're kind of in a lag right now because a lot of the summer stuff starts to quiet down the coin industry a little bit. There's still auctions going on and things like that, but, you know, a lot of the spring auctions now are done. And so we're going to go into the summer months. The spring auction was really strong. I don't see any lull in the market as far as like the strength of it. I think that as we get it in deeper into the summer, a lot of people are going to be taking off, and it won't start getting going again until around ANA in August, and then going into summer, into the fall months when it'll start picking up again. And so what I find from my coin store perspective is I get a lot more walk-in traffic during the summer, especially in downtown Chicago, because everybody's on vacation. People are coming to visit Chicago. People are out and about. I have 18 windows on the ground floor. And so like in the middle of January and February, I don't get anybody who hardly walks into the store. Whereas in the summer, it's like constant over and over and over again. A lot of people walking in the store, a lot of people coming upstairs to our ancient coin department. I mean, there's somebody outside right now in our ancient coins looking. So it's a constant flow of people. And so they're not necessarily always spending a lot of money, but it's very active. So I guess I would say as a whole, the market is still very, very strong. I don't see any real lull that's coming at the moment. And I feel like things are still strong. I'd say in the bullion market, it's kind of stagnated a bit because gold, as you all know, it went up to 2,400 or close to it, and now it's come back down to around 2,300, and it's kind of just sticking there. Yep. So I think the bullion market is a little stagnant right now. People don't really know which way it's
gonna. Right. While I have you there on that, I wanted to ask. Is there like, we, like you say, we've had quite an increase in gold and not too bad in silver. And if, let's say that was to jump again about the same amount, is that going to have a little bit of effect into the ancient market? Like, it really doesn't have much of an effect on the gold or silver or the
totally different market. The guys that are like your stackers, they don't care about ancient coins. Occasionally, what I see is cross marketing with that. Like if somebody's coming in the store to buy gold or silver, they may see an ancient coin and buy it, and that's just kind of like a one-off type of scenario. It's not like they're going to become a collector. So it does create more activity in the store, which can create more sales with ancient coins. But the guys that are truly collecting ancient coins,
not really looking
they're in it, and it's like, does the price, like, look, in when gold goes up, then your standard $20 gold pieces and things like that, those markets start to go up and down based on what the gold price is doing, right? Because as the gold price goes up and down, it's going to, common saints and libs and things like that, that's going to change the pricing of that stuff. And so that is a direct correlation with the gold price or silver price. But with ancient coins, when you have a gold Roman aureus that only weighs 7 grams, it's never going to come close to the historical value. Is always going to be much greher than the gold value.
Sure.
It's not like it's going to change much.
Very little.
I don't really see a direct correlation with that, other than having an actual brick and mortar location brings people in.
Sure.
And it's potentially a better chance to do some cross marketing and actually possibly create some new buyers.
A little bit more demand from it. Sure. Okay. Very cool. All right. I'm going to go ahead and share the screen here. I wanted to show, I was looking through your shorts, and I just wanted to show people that so if you come over here to Aaron Berk's YouTube channel, definitely subscribe. Amazing info here. He's got a Roman marble head of Titus. They just did a short on this Egyptian wood Anubis, I guess it is.
Anubis,
very cool wooden piece there. And then he goes through just little shorts on medieval Viking sword here, or ancient coins. Here we have the Tarsus Stater that I picked up off of him, a beautiful example. But I wanted to show you this little short here. I thought was kind of
that's a good one. Just me.
What do you got? Showing
So I'm not Thor today, but I'm kind of like Thor. Check this thing out.
Okay, hold on.
That video's not coming through.
Well, hello there.
I was going to smash open the eyes of March Denarius.
Oh, yeah?
Gonna free it from its cast.
Free it. Dun, 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 dun.
So you had me there for a while, but I went back and noticed. So you did a little bit of switcheroo there. I think
I certainly did. I certainly did. Not everything is as it's supposed to be.
Right.
Well,
no, that's funny. But so tell people about that coin a bit, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so that coin actually was owned by the Hunt brothers, who actually cornered the silver market in the 80s. It actually has a pedigree back to the 1930s. It's probably one of the most famous of all the silver Eidmars. That is issued by Brutus in 42 BC, after the assassination of Julius Caesar, where Brutus actually was kind of run out of Rome after he helped assassinate Julius Caesar. And he was issuing these coins to pay his army to fight in the civil wars against Augustus and Mark Antony. And one of the reasons Caesar was assassinated was because he put his portrait on coins, and was considered dictator for life. And so Brutus, after he assassinated him, turned around and did the same thing, put his portrait on a coin, and on the reverse, he basically admits that he assassinated Julius Caesar on the Ides of March. And so the two daggers represent the assassination, and the Phrygian cap, or Liberty cap, as we now know it today, represents the Roman people. And so he's basically saying that he freed the Roman people from Caesar's wrath on the Ides of March. And then, so there's about 80 of these in silver. There's only 3 in gold. And this coin has a really cool history, because my dad actually and I bought this coin from Steve Rubinger, who owns Antiqua. He's pretty much retired now. And we paid $100,000 for it back in around 2004, something like that, 2002. And the market was not strong at that point. And we held it for a year and couldn't sell it. And we were only asking $125,000. And so then we ended up selling it to a guy named Sid Bellsberg in Canada for $112,000 on payments. And so we made 12 grand. And then he sold it a couple years later. And then it ended up in a heritage sale in 2012, and it brought $500,000, which was the first time a coin like an ancient coin like that ever brought that kind of money. And it was the record holder for the most expensive Eidmar ever to sell. The coin came back up again last summer, and I bought it for my client for with commission $650,000. And so it then broke the record, its own record again, but that just was broken by another silver Eidmar that just sold at NAC for 950,000 hammer Swiss francs. So it sold for over $1 million. So now that's the first $1 million one. So, but this one's probably one of the most famous ones because of its history and because of who owned it.
Sure.
And because it was a record holder for so long. And when we bought the coin out of Heritage, it was already in a slab, and my client decided to leave it in the slab because NGC charges 2% of the market price. So it would cost probably, $50,000 to $100,000 to put it back in a slab later if we ever wanted to.
Wow.
So it just didn't make sense to take it out. And that's kind of the reason why they charge so much, is because 1, they want to profit off of it, and 2, they want to make sure people don't break them out. Because you're really losing money if you end up having to put it back in the slab, because they can reholder it for just a small fraction, or what they can do is they can regrade it any way they want, because once it's cracked out of the slab, they can say it's been tampered with or whatever, and they can change their view about it.
Sure.
What's really interesting, because NGC doesn't guarantee authenticity, but they charge more, and I did a whole analysis on my podcast about this. They charge more than any other service for any other type of coin or currency. Ancient coins, NGC Ancient Coins charges more than PCGS or any other NGC graded service than any other one, and they're the only, and Ancient Coins the only one they don't guarantee. They guarantee US coins, currency, everything else except Ancient Coins, but yet they charge the most.
Yeah.
So get that right.
Yeah.
And because they're the only service in town that actually is respected enough to handle the service, meaning that people respect NGC because of the people who are grading the coins, meaning David Vagey and Barry Murphy.
Yeah.
GC. Annex actually slabs, which is part of it's like a runoff of ANA, American Numismatic Association, but they're terrible and they don't know what they're doing and they slab a lot of fake coins. And in fact, I'll give you a little secret for all you guys that buy from some of the auction houses online, meaning I won't mention their names, but there are some companies that have a weekly auction on Wednesday nights, I believe. And any coin that's in an annex holder that's in their sale means that it came back from NGC as undetermined, meaning they wouldn't slab it. So then they send it to Annex to get it in a holder to then sell it in their e-sale. Wow. So I've been told don't buy any coins out of their sale that are in Annex holders because it means it was rejected in some form from NGC. So this is of course secondhand. So I can't verify it 100%, but the source I got it was somebody who used to work there. So in any case, sounded pretty good to me.
So why you busted it out here? What was that for?
I didn't bust it out.
Oh, that wasn't okay. So
no, I have. If you've seen our black cabinet, I have about 5. I actually have a fake of this coin that somebody did.
Okay.
So all I did was just I had another slabbed coin that was a nothing. I think it was an Antonius Pius Denarius in a nothing holder, and I had gotten in a collection, and so I actually cracked that piece, and then I had the fake coin, and then I switched and held that one up.
Okay, I see.
So I never really broke open.
Okay.
The slabbed Ides of March.
Gotcha. Okay, well that's interesting.
A little trickery.
Yeah. I'm gonna also share, since we're on that subject, I'm gonna share my screen again here.
And hi everybody. I saw a bunch of highs from people.
Yeah. Welcome in everybody. Thanks for being here.
Happy Friday.
And where am I at? Go find it here. How come you're not pulling up here? Let me reopen it then. Sorry guys, give me 1 second here.
Excuse me. Sorry if I made any yawn.
Okay, here. So in your last week's podcast, about 20 minutes through, you have an example here. There we go. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I just sold this coin the other week in my auction. It's a beautiful coin, and the topic came up of reholdering this. Like, if I buy this and then I send it into NGC to have it reholdered, is that not? What about that? Should I do that or whatnot? He just kind of brought up the subject. And I just thought this would be a good chance, and you had this example, so I want to use your example and show that. Okay, so these two, this coin here on the left.
Yeah.
Let me blow this up for you. This coin here on the left.
Yep.
And this coin here on the right are the exact same coin, right?
Right.
And over here on the left, if you see, it sold at Roma for 1,200 pounds.
12,000.
I mean 12,000. Right? Sorry, 12,000 pounds. And then someone tell me if I get this wrong, had it holdered.
Yep.
So they sent it into NGC.
Yep.
And had it holdered, thinking, let's put this in a holder and resell it at a big profit, which happens often in nowadays in the U.S., right?
Well, especially when you get star designations.
Indeed. However, and so we'll talk about both ways here, but here's an example where they reholdered it, put it up for auction again, and it actually only brought 4,800.
Correct.
So,
And that's 12. The Roma price is just a hammer price. Heritage includes their buyer's premium in their finalized prices realized. So that's 4,800 all in. Whereas that's 12,000 pounds plus 20% plus the pound of the dollar, which is another close to 15% loss between the currencies.
Ooh.
So you're talking probably $18,000 down to 4,800.
Right. And some of the reasons that this is happening, and correct me, Aaron, if I'm off on this, but you also see this go the other way, where someone will take a coin, get it holdered, and it will bring a lot more because it got this little star designation and the 5.5, and maybe got 5.5 and 5.5. And so per the slab and per the label, it looks like, well, this would be a perfect example of this coin because it gets a star and a 5.5, meaning it has the best service and a good strike for that coin. And you think, well, this is the best it could be for this coin. Like in modern US coins, if you get a MS-70 Eagle, you've got the top of the line of an MS-70 Eagle. But that's not the case in ancient coins because you have so many different die cutters, right?
Right. Well, and really what it comes down to is you have a situation with slabbing, and I've talked about this, is that companies like Heritage, or companies that just deal in slabbed ancients primarily and not raw coins, they're kind of painted into a corner and they become a one-trick pony because they can only sell gold and silver that usually come mint state types of coins and that are popular types, because the people who are paying these stupid premiums for these star designations and who really want the best are buying the plastic and not the coin. But they have to understand what they're buying also. This type of coin, this particular one of Brutus, is not necessarily widely known. And so it's not as popular as, say, like a Julius Caesar or one of the 12 Caesars, or something that's much more popular like an Eidmar or something like that, or Athens tetradrachms, very popular types that we see over and over and over again that can get into high designations. What you won't find in a heritage sale and a premium sale is you won't find a lot of bronze coins. And the reason is because most bronze coins are cleaned. And when bronze coins are cleaned, sometimes they're smooth, meaning that they cut into the surface a little bit when they're cleaning it. And so almost, I would say, a very high percentage, maybe 80%, maybe higher, are going to come back as smooth in the label, and they're going to downgrade the surface. And so that, when you're collecting ancient bronze coins, that is pretty much a common theme. And so people accept it who buy ancient raw coins. But in the slabbing community, they don't like it because it's downgrading the surface. Yeah. And so you won't get a lot of bronze coins in their sales, which means you're eliminating a huge portion of the ancient market that is being bought and sold daily. And so, like, if I had a major, like, for instance, I just had a collector who had a collection and he was thinking about going to Heritage with his coins, and he owns an Eidmar, silver Eidmar. And I said to him, you're going to do really good with some of your coins. But about half of his coins were bronze coins. And I said, the other half, you're going to do really crappy, and because they're going to get downgraded. And so you're better off going to an auction house that sells all coins, both slab and raw, and who aren't requiring you to have everything slabbed. When you go to Heritage, they require everything to be slabbed, which means you're at the mercy of the grading service, right? Yeah. Yeah. And so when a company like an NAC or C&G or one of those big, larger auction houses, if you go through some of their major sales, about 80 to probably 95% of the coins are not slabbed. And the ones that are the ones that have high designations that are in their sale. And so, in fact, when we get coins on consignment here at Harlan Berk, we crack out most of the coins because it just, doesn't make sense for us to sell them that way. So I got that collector to actually give it to another auction house that was going to be a better fit for him. And so what Heritage and these companies have run in my opinion, what they've run into, and they don't care because they're making tons of profit, is they become a one-trick pony. They can only sell octagrams in gold of Egypt, Chrysos gold and silver, 12 Caesars in gold and silver, popular Syracusan types and Athenian types and Larissa and coins of popular type, or coins that they know they can constantly get a good supply of high grade in gold and silver that they can get in high designations over and over and over again. This type of coin here doesn't come up as often. There's about 450 listed in Coin Archives. Well, so it's a big supply. They do come. You can buy this coin for $800 to $1,000 normally, and it's still a very nice coin for the quality. So, and the other thing is you got to remember is that Heritage is an auction house, so is Stacks. And so they're going to expect you to start really low to draw interest. They're going to tell you, oh, this coin is a star. We've sold this coin for great money. We want you to go in with a reserve of $1,000. And we're going to start it out at $10. And but don't worry, it's going to bring stupid money. Well, it's still an auction. It's still rolling the dice. And so here in this situation, it only brought 4,800, which means that the owner not only didn't get 4,800 because minus the the fact that some of that is 20% buyer's premium that goes to Heritage, and Heritage makes them, the owner, pay for the slabbing as well. And so you're out the slabbing fees as well. So in the end, this person really lost big time. And so if you're gonna slab ancients and give them to Heritage, you got to give them coins that are popular, that are being sold over and over and over again. And you have to watch the market to know, has that market softened any? For instance, Chrysos, which is, he was the very first Greek king in 546 BC to mint bimetallic gold and silver in different denominations. Very first person to ever do that in the history of coinage. So it's right at the beginning of coinage. And some of his heavy staters, at the beginning, when Heritage was selling a lot of slab coins for big money, they were selling, normally that coin would sell for about $25,000. They were getting between $100,000 and $125,000 a piece for starred ones. Ridiculous money, because from what I understand, the Japanese were fighting over them. Okay, and they only want starred coins. Well, now they're bringing closer to 40,000, and so in Heritage. And so they softened satisfied their own market.
Yeah.
Now the price isn't anywhere near what it was. And so you can only go to the trough for so many times before everybody's satisfied. Yeah. And those clients become more educated. And so as the market starts to soften, you have to know that. And so you can only go to the well so many times before the market starts to fail on that. So sure. It's the nature of the business. So you have to be really careful. And this is all gambling. It's gambling to slab coins and hope for a better designation. It's gambling in the US market already. So I watch my US department constantly battle this, where they get a coin that is an old rattler, meaning it's an old generation NGC or PCDS holder. And they think, well, grading services have changed their standards. They haven't seen this coin in 10 years. I'm going to submit it because I think it's going to get a higher designation. And so, but it's all gambling.
Yeah. I think it definitely comes down to a knowledge-based thing. And for me, coming from mostly the aesthetic art angle, I can see the hole that some people, like you say, are just going for that 5 of 5, and it might be a nice surface for that die cutter, but the art might just not be there, and it's just that misunderstanding of thinking, oh well, I got a Metapontum stater or nomos and Lucania nomos, and since it's a 5 of 5 start, it's the best one, but that could just be an ugly die cutter, and you might find one that would only be, say, a 4 of 5, but have beautiful art that you would have been willing, once set side by side, to pay a much higher price for, just because you don't, you're just buying the label instead of knowing your actual coins.
Right. Absolutely. And it's a lot of times NGC likes to use the word brushed as a comment.
Yeah.
And from my understanding, they put the coin under ultraviolet, under blacklight to look for that. And so they're looking for something that, that isn't seen with the naked eye very easily.
Yeah.
So, and it just means it was harshly cleaned. Well, all ancient coins are clean. Every single ancient coin is clean. There's nothing that comes out of the ground that's not a glob of crap. And it takes a lot of preservation to get it back to its original state. And so it's unfair to call it brushed. If you want to say harshly cleaned, just downgrade the surface. You don't need to be redundant and call it brushed. It just, to me, it's silly, and it's only hurting the ancient coin market as a whole. And so and again, I will guarantee authenticity, but I'm not going to guarantee grade, because grade is subjective. And so if I call something EF and they call it VF, that's just a difference of opinion. Yeah. They're not the authority on grading. Right. So, yeah. And guess what? They get it wrong all the time in US coins. So how are they going to get it right in ancient coins?
Right. No doubt. Interesting stuff there. All right. So we went over this auction last time we were with you, and it was prior to the sale, and now it's post sale. Yep. And I thought we would look through some of these and see, some of the values that they ended up bringing. I thought when I looked through here a little bit ago, I seen what I thought were some steals of deals in this. And
yeah, I thought the CNG sale in general went pretty. It was strong in a couple areas, but in general, I think that most of the coins went at estimate or just above or below. And I think that in general, I don't think the coins were runaways.
Yeah.
So
this was kind of a runaway here. I thought that they had an estimate of 750 and it went for $4,000.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I mean, some of those early Celtic and Gaulish pieces, there's a big market for those in Europe, and so those can be driven pretty strongly by that market over there.
Okay, yeah, and then we talked a little about the Paris-C. Mm-hmm. And I thought it didn't. I thought it might go for a bit more. I wasn't all that blown away by its realized price. What did you think about that?
I thought it was kind of where it should be.
Okay.
I think 35,000 was fair for it. It's not as nice as some of the other ones that have come up that have brought a lot more, and so I thought the estimate might have been a little bit too high. I think that it might have done better if it was an estimate of 15. That may have pulled in more clients. I had a client that was interested in it, and he kind of got scared off by the estimate a little bit.
Huh.
So
another thing that I would, right next to it here, we have this, and I seen you had one close to it in your auction not long ago, and yeah. I almost pulled the trigger on it. I held off because I didn't know the coin well enough.
Right.
And I've seen a few others sale, and they've all been pretty close. I think yours was pretty close. Yours was a bit nicer.
Yeah.
But that's a pretty solid 700. I've seen several of them go at that price. So I was surprised.
It's a common coin. And so you can really get some, you can start to develop some regularity with coins that come up on a regular basis.
Yeah, I was surprised to see how steady that price was on those. I was a little surprised. I thought this would go for more and only brought a couple $100 more in estimate.
Yeah, like I said, there was definitely some softness in some of the areas. I had a client that I was bidding for in this auction, and I got quite a few of the coins for him. In fact, here, let me bring up my spreadsheet of what I've got for him. I actually had a few people I was bidding for, but CNG auction.
Yeah, we're gonna get to my B. I was blown out of the water for what that went for. I was a little frustrated.
Yeah, so now so there was a hoard of Tarentum. And so there's been quite a bit of Tarentum on the market for the last 2 years.
I've noticed that.
And so, so for this type with the youth underneath working on the hoof,
yep.
That we used to get $3,000 for those.
I would have paid much. I would have went higher than this if I would have been there.
Yeah, and the last one I had, I think I got 3,500 for. And so it's just that there's been a lot of this die that have come up, and so people are satisfied. And so when a market gets satisfied, the price starts to drop.
Sure. I would have been there on this one if
Yep.
It's
a great coin on both sides, well centered, and yeah, that's a very, very important type. So,
and a great buy at that price. I thought that was a steal of a deal.
I agree.
And then we were talking about this lovely piece,
right?
It did beat. It did good. What 19,000?
Yeah, I had I bid on that, and I had a bid up to 15,000. Okay. And it went for 19.
Yeah.
So
strong
I felt like 15 was enough for it. And just looking at my notes here, what did I say about it? 28. So I said, I wrote that particular coin brought 18,000 in 2018. I said much better than most, especially with the treatment of the eyes, which are great. And so I was trying to get it a little bit cheaper than it went for last time, and it basically went only 1,000 more than it did back in 2018.
Yeah, I remember we talked about that before, and it's interesting to see where it ended up there. It brought a strong price for sure. The next one was 28. Or was that just? It was 28. Okay, so the next one was 110. Don't look at the screen. Look away. All right, here we go. 110. Oh yeah, we talked about this one, and I would have probably went on this one too. I thought this went for a pretty good price. What did you think on this one for 1,600 out the door?
Too much money.
Too much money, really. I thought this was a nice piece. It must be more common than
Thasos stators or tetragrams are extremely common. Okay. I used to buy and sell these for $500 all day long.
Okay, well that's what it had estimated there. I just thought it was nice. Pretty piece.
It's nice. I think that's 1,600 plus 20%, okay. plus 22.5% actually for this sale.
A little strong.
So you're, what is that? Let's see, 1,600 times 0.225 plus 1,600. So that's almost $2,000. That's I wouldn't ask more than $1,200 for that.
Really? Okay. Wow. Good to know. Good to know. Because I thought that was actually
way too much money for that.
Awesome. Hello, Joseph Lopez in Southeast Stacker. Good to see you. Good to see you. Okay. Well, that's some good information. I thought otherwise on that, so that's good to know. Then I wanted to look at 128. Oh, and this octodrom. Is that a fairly? I mean, that's almost an ounce, guys, of silver there. 28.43 grams. So it's a big piece, octodrom. Is that and it went for a pretty good. What did you think about this piece? Is this rare?
So I bid on this as well. I bid up to 25,000. It brought 16,000 back in 2019. So I felt like 25 was a very strong price for it. And 35 was strong. Yeah,
I was surprised. I thought that was strong too.
So I think I probably bid it to 27 and then let it go. So, I thought that was a very, I think, look, in 2019, it only brought 16 and I went 10,000 above that.
Wow. Interesting.
So it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah. And that's the same point. Have you seen many other examples of this?
They come up. This is quite nice for the type. A lot of them will have die breaks in them on the obverse side. This one does not. And so that's why we stretched for it. But I wouldn't have paid 35,000 for it.
Boy, it is solid all the way. Look, I mean, there's not much of I guess there's a little crack there, maybe, or scratch or something.
No, but they'll have like a big die break going all the way through the horse. So yeah. It'd be substantial. And this is one we heavily went after. And in fact, it, you know, let's see, yeah, it didn't have an old pedigree, and so I wouldn't have gone higher without the high pedigree. It only goes back to 2018, so it's not that far.
Okay, and then, Aaron, we talked a little bit about these guys. Again, this piece, now I know for you this is probably an ugly piece because you've seen probably thousands of these.
No, that was cheap. That was cheap.
I thought that was, I would have bought that if that, like, this is another one.
That was cheap for a Philip II. That was definitely cheap.
Okay, good, because I was like, man, that I think I would have been all over that. If
yeah, you're talking like 4,250 all in. You know, it's not bad.
Good to know. Good to know. Let's see, what was that one? Okay, 146. Yeah, and then we looked at these, and I kind of guessed maybe $1,000 difference in price, and I got that pretty close.
Yep.
So interesting to see that. What did you think about that price? About what you were thinking, probably, right?
Oh, let's see, 146. Yeah, that's a good. That's reasonable for that. You know, when you get these nice like portraitures of Philip, they tend to you know, go for, you know, 5,000 plus, and so I think that was that's a very good price at that level. So
cool, nice.
Definitely like low retail. So
very nice, very I like that.
That's a beautiful coin.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have a problem asking $6,500 for that coin.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I liked it as well. I thought that was another good one. Yeah, there was some. I went through here. And I was like, man. But this one was in your. This was your doofus buy. Let's touch on that since we're here.
It was.
On Aaron's podcast, Ancient Coin Podcast. Go check it out. He had this as his doofus purchase, I believe, of one of.
I did.
And we had actually talked about this before. And
a plan crack. It doesn't have an old pedgree. It was
no eye there.
Yeah, it was. It's a ridiculous price. It's not a It's a $4,500 to $5,000 coin tops. And that's pushing it. In fact, I was talking to the biggest buyer in the world, and he couldn't believe it when I pointed this out to him.
Yeah. Well, I haven't seen very many of them, so I'm going to be interested.
Common. They come up, not rare.
Very interesting. Okay, 170. Oh, yep, the Delphi. Now, we talked a bit about this one. What did you think on this as far as a realized price?
You know, it was fine. I think that's, you know, that's in range. I mean, the Triobles, I probably wouldn't have paid more than $1,200 for it, hammer. But you know, it's a popular type. It's just, you know, the little fractions generally don't bring as much unless they're really fantastic. I wouldn't say this one's real fantastic. I think it's probably a little bit of a strong price, but it's not outlandish.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about a piece, guys, that's 1 gram. So this little tiny 1 gram piece of silver I've got in my fingers here is about the same weight as this little coin here, and it brought $1,500. It's a pretty.
Don't forget, that's just hammer.
Right, so it'd be more than that.
22.5% on top of that. Here, let's take a look here. So that coin sold in CNG in 2022. So let's just take a quick gander at this. I'll tell you what it brought. I'm going to go to Coin Archives real quick. We can do a quick take a look at it real quick, and I'll tell you what it brought, and we'll see if that was a good price or not.
Okay.
Sold in CNG number 120, and it was lot number 216. Okay, so that coin brought $1,400 in 2022.
So that's a pretty good price for it then, all around. Probably not bad. I mean, not much difference, but
not much difference.
Staying solid.
Show some more lots. Yeah, I think it's okay. You know, so I know the guy who owned this coin. He unfortunately passed away recent, and CNG got the collection. So that's why there was a lot of coins that had just sold recently that ended up in this auction because he passed away.
Okay, yeah. So and this looks really rough, guys, and it is rough, but it's kind of a unique coin. Comes from a very interesting place. It has a denomination in a much larger size with the most gorgeous art. There's only a few known in the world, and he's got it in his 100 Greatest Ancient Coin book if you want to take a look at it.
So
first,
Tri-Obel might be one of the finer ones. Let's see here. Delphi Tri-Obel.
But yeah, that's cool because it's got these little, it's got a dolphin over here and a dolphin over here on this side in between these bull horns, a dolphin underneath this ram. Pretty cool. And if you'd see the larger coin, you'd understand why this one is somewhat interesting.
So these do bring a lot of money in higher quality. And they're relatively rare. So, I mean, the most expensive one ever to sell, it's a little bit different style, brought almost $30,000. And then there was one that brought 24,000, one that brought
the same Tri-Hemi-Obel?
It's let's see here. Yes, but high quality.
Woo.
You know, much stronger, much clearer. I would say this C and G one was in the ranking of them.
You want to share your screen?
Sure, why not?
Okay, let me drop this one right quick. Because I'd be interested to see that myself, actually.
Present and share my screen. Share. Let's do that one. Share. Okay.
There we are.
So here you can see.
Oh yeah.
How much nicer they are.
Oh wow, yeah. Look at that one. Third down is really nice too.
Yeah. And these were all in 2021. There was a very important sale of fractions that happened at NAC and Nomos, and that's where these came out of. And then you can see down to 6,500, 6,000 for that one. So, you know, they bring good money, but you can see how clear the reverse is.
Woo, that's nice. Yeah.
And I think we're going to get to ours here in a second. Here's ours all the way down here.
Yep.
So
very cool. All right. Well, that's awesome to see. Yes.
In fact, here they are side by side.
Okay. Yep.
There it is when it showed up in 2022, and there it is in 2024. So in the rankings of value, they're right in line.
Holding steady.
Yeah. So, but you can see the differences in the pricing. Now, I would say somebody paid a lot of money for these, you know, but they're pretty fantastic. I mean, look at that.
No doubt.
And pretty incredible. So, in any case.
Awesome. Thank you for that.
Sure.
And now let me
stop screen. There we go.
Back here. Yep. Okay, onward we go. I was gonna go 170. Oh yeah, I'm gonna bypass. This wasn't a bad owl that went for $1,100.
Oh, it's in line.
In line.
I mean, it's probably a good buy.
Yeah, I would have been happy with that.
But again, you know, like Athens they're a dime a dozen these days. So,
right.
You know, it is what it is.
Yeah, and these turtles here, boy, this was a strong one.
That was very strong. That was ridiculously strong.
Very nice, very good. I must admit,
it's not a $17,000 coin.
But no, I believe that.
No, not for it's a land turtle. I mean, land.
Yeah, and the land turtle. Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's and there are quite a few that come up that are very, very. Look, that sea turtle right there for 6,500 is a much better buy.
Yeah. Okay.
In fact,
yeah, that's the one I'm kind of looking for one. If I find one, that's probably still a little bit high for me, but I'd like to get an original too. But okay.
Yeah, so on 186, I had a bid up to 12,000, and I did, you know, it went for 17. 12,000 was ridiculous.
Okay, wow, cool.
17,000 was ridiculous. I was going to go to I went to 12 on it and didn't get it.
Okay.
And NAC in my notes said NAC had one, and it brought 11,000 Swiss francs. So, we were right in line with what it should be, and somebody way overpaid for it.
Okay. Very interesting. Very cool to know. 201. And I wanted to, yep, this Pan brought in just a little. What did you think? I know you've dealt a little with these. What did you think about this coin?
Surprised it sold.
Okay. Tell me a bit about it.
It's not that, there's been a lot of them on the market. Does it have a pedigree? Move down.
No.
No pedigree,
which
means it's a new find.
Okay. Got it.
Most likely it's a new find. There's been a lot of these that have come on the market in the last 5 years with the side profile. And so now it's, they're bringing between 50 and 75,000 if they sell for a while. And I'm surprised they actually sold it. In fact, they may have bought it in. Who knows if they actually did sell it.
Interesting.
It's not one of the better ones.
Yeah, I noticed it was not. I have seen it.
The beard is off. It's just, look, if you're going to buy those, there's lots of them that have come onto the market. And my feeling is if you're going to buy a coin for $70,000, almost $85,000, you should get one with a pedigree.
Right. Okay.
Having a track record on a coin over $50,000 isn't the worst thing.
Sure. No doubt, huh? I kind of like this coin. I know
it's a good price for $1,400. I think that's quite fair. Those Ionia pieces, I've handled quite a few of them. It's scarcer, not unique or rare. I would say that's right in line with what it should be. I think it was a decent buy for what it was. They typically come really dark like that, and that one's really nicely balanced. So I think that was fair.
Yeah, that is. I liked it too. So that's an Ionia from Ionia as well, huh?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, didn't know that. I really like this. I know you've made fun of this coin a few times, but I like the little.
So when these Heck Days came out in the 90s, there wasn't a lot of them coming out until the 90s. They were very scarce, and so they were bringing $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a piece, and then the market got satisfied. Then they went way down, and now they're starting to come back a little bit. But this is also, I believe, part of the slabbing market is also pushing some of this because a lot of these coins can be really high grade, and so they can get these decent designations for that reason.
Cool. Yeah. So this rooster is actually, these are incuse. So the one side, so actually, this is poking out of the coin, but this is incuse. This is in the coin.
That's a small coin, so it's easier probably in the manufacturing to make one in incuse.
Okay.
When you're hammering such a small coin.
Okay. And we're getting close to the end of the hour. I gotta hurry up here. But this one, Aaron, it hurt me a little bit. I was hoping to see this go for quite a bit less, and it kind of blew the doors off there. So
yeah.
Did you get this coin? I know you were interested in it as well.
Let me see, did I have a bid on that in the end? 238. No, yeah, I bid it up to 4,500.
Okay. That's more where I was thinking it would sell, and
so I bid it up to probably 5,000 and let it go. Look, the left wing is a little bit off, and I've seen them better centered. I felt like 4,500 to $5,000 plus the juice was plenty. I think 7,000 plus 22.5% is too much.
A little over. I was hoping you'd say that because, yeah, that's what I was hoping.
I mean, again, that's 0.55 plus what was it? 7,000. So that's $8,575. It's not an $8,500 coin.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. All right, that's good to hear.
If I went back 20 years, these coins were selling for between $1,000 and $1,500.
Where was I at, Aaron? Where was I? All right. Very cool. We're winding down on our time here. Let me see if I can find the coin that I have here. Didn't get it listed. So, oh, here it is. Okay. So this one I have in my hand here as well. And this is an example I want to use. I actually prefer my coin here, aesthetically speaking. I think it's really nice. Now there are a few things about this coin that there's some detail I'm missing, but I thought this went for a pretty good price, and I would have taken this, and then so I can keep a hold of this one I have and not have to sell it and sell this one.
Yeah, I think it's sold exactly where it should. I was looking for a client a couple of years ago for one of these for about a year and a half, and we were trying to target around $2,000, $1,900, and so this is exactly where I would have expected this to go.
Okay, yeah, and I don't know which way you would go. Like, I think I noticed for me, I prefer this coin aesthetically, and I don't know if you were to send these into NGC, this one on screen may get a better designation. I'm not sure. What do you think about that, Aaron?
You know, again, these come high grade. Typically, you might have some weak striking on the Zeus seated side.
Yep.
You know, again, this has become this coin has become popular because of the slabbing situation. And so you have a lot of people buying this coin. This coin, again, 20 years ago, it was only a $400 to $500 coin. And so this is being driven by the slabbing market.
Okay. Interesting. I would like to know, like, aesthetically for me, I don't know, it's the toning. I like how well, like, there's really smooth chest here. If you notice on his, it seems to be a little bit more porous or rough kind of. So yeah, I just find like this is a good example of where, knowing your coin, or aesthetically speaking, knowing what you're after.
So if I got this coin in my shop, I would I would probably ask $2,200 for it, and then settle out at $1,800 if I had to.
Okay. Very cool, Aaron. Well, let's see. I wanted to quick ask you, how's your third edition of the greatest 100 greatest coming? Is that out yet for people to get a hold of?
Third edition's been out for several months now. You can get it on our website or on Amazon, I believe, as well. If you buy from us, my father will autograph it for you.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right, guys, I'm gonna wrap this one up. Aaron, thank you so much for taking the time and watching through this stuff. And
anytime.
Everybody hit the thumbs up for Aaron here. I greatly appreciate him helping us out here. Hope to get you back on in another month here, and maybe we can do it again.
Sure. Yeah. Somebody's asking what number of the Lydian trite. What's that? What's the question again? What number is the Lydian trite? What does that mean?
C, and what number is the Lydian trite? Oh, okay. Let's go back to those trites that were there. I bet he was talking about those NQs. Are these the trites that
you're talking about trite with the wart on the nose? Oh, of the top 100. Let's see. I don't know if there's a trident for that one or if it's the Chrysos. Let's see. I think I have a third edition here. Yeah, I do. It's gonna be right at the beginning. Because we start out with the striated, the very first coin, and then you get the coinage of Chrysos. The trite does not make the 100 greatest.
Okay. Awesome. And
the word on the nose. It is a popular type because it's the Persians, and there's a lot of people, because the Persians are mentioned in the Bible and the Old Testament, that a lot of people collect that Lydian type for that reason. But it probably should be in the 100 greatest. Look, you can only put 100 coins in, right? You have to drop some out. It's just the nature of the business. And guys like Chrysos is a lot more popular. So because Chrysos did a whole bimetallic denomination.
There you go. It's popping in and out. Yeah, that's it. There you go. Yep.
So he does a lot more. And then you have the coin of Fani's as well, which is the first time a person was ever named on a coin. So
Yep.
so it's, you know, it's tough, right? You know, you can only put so many coins in. So
Sure.
I mean, I would say there's some Roman coins that should be in here that are not. You just have to kind of pick and choose. So I would say if I was gonna redo it, if my dad does a 4th edition at some point, maybe he would take out Fani's. But it's, again, it's a really tough one to decide what to take out.
Yeah. Okay. For sure. For sure.
Well, my dad wrote the book on Chrysos. He not a book, but he wrote a very important article on Chrysos. So that Chrysos collection was his. He actually built it, and there was a discovery piece. He knew of it's the smallest fraction hadn't been discovered yet, but he knew it existed because it existed in silver. And so it took like 10 years for it to finally come up in the market. And then he was able to buy it and complete his collection. And so a lot of people use his Berk numbers based on that collection. And my dad sold the collection that's in the book. He sold it to a client for about $125,000. And the client's here in Chicago. And I've told the client he could probably get between $1 million and $2 million.
Oh man, I bet.
It's the 100 greatest. It's the book. It's there's tons of prototypes in it, and it's the only collection. It's the collection that everybody bases their Berk reference numbers off of. So you got to imagine it's worth more.
Oh man.
First. So
For sure.
you know. So in any case, but in fact, my dad would get really upset because people would use his dating that he used in this article that he wrote his collection on and wouldn't give him credit. And so he would get really upset. So
Sure.
you can imagine, you know.
Sure.
So in any case, so I think when my dad first wrote the book, he wrote 150 articles, and from the 150 they had to whittle it down, or 125, and then had to whittle it down to 100 because that's the parameters of the book. 100.
Yeah, that had to be hard, no doubt.
1,800 years of ancient coin production. There's a lot of coins that could be in the book.
For sure.
So, just the nature of it. So anyway.
Okay, well, we'll get you back to go over some more of those next time, Aaron. I don't want to keep you all day because I would for sure. So
well, thanks guys. Appreciate it. Glad to come on anytime.
all right, thanks for hanging out, guys, and we will catch you all on the next one.